Let's turn to South Korea, where the impeachment trial of suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol has held its first hearing. These here are live pictures outside the presidential palace where anti-government protesters have gathered. Mr. Yoon did not attend the hearing. He is facing charges over his failed attempt of imposing martial law, plunging the country into its deepest political crisis in decades. The court will decide if his actions violated the constitution and amounted to insurrection. Well, let's speak to our correspondent Shaima Halil, who's following developments from Tokyo for us. And Shaima, so Mr. Yoon did not attend the hearing. This was expected. But what happens next?
As expected, Yoon Suk Yeol did not attend the first impeachment hearing. His lawyers have told us that, citing safety concerns and other objections that they had about the logistics of the hearings. It lasted about 4 minutes. It was very, very quick. Essentially, it was the marking of the start of the impeachment trial procedures. We are expecting another hearing later this week. This, as protesters and anti-Yoon protesters continue to gather outside the presidential palace. What the Constitutional Court has to decide is whether the declaration of martial law by Yoon Suk Yeol early in December was unconstitutional and whether it was illegal. And it has many weeks, even months, to decide that. It has about 5 months now that the hearings have started. It could drag out, but they are under pressure to make a quick decision because of the instability that South Korea finds itself in. This comes after a month of Parliament deciding to vote to impeach the president after he declared martial law and then withdrew that very, very quickly. If the impeachment is upheld, then Yoon Suk Yeol is out of power, and that will trigger a snap election that will have to be done within 60 days. If it's dismissed, he is reinstated and he is back in power. That will not go down well, neither with the opposition, not with many members of the public who again continue to gather outside his presidential palace, expressing their anger about what happened early December. But remember, apart from the trial, Yoon is also facing criminal investigations for alleged insurrection and abuse of power, both related to the martial law declaration on December 3rd. Investigators and the police are attempting for a second time to arrest the president. Today, there was a meeting between the police and a group from the corruption investigation office. They met with the presidential security service. What they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid another standoff like the one that happened earlier this month. The first time the investigators and police tried to arrest the president, there were extraordinary scenes where they were trying to get close to the presidential residence, and they were blocked essentially by a wall of people from the presidential security guards. They're trying to avoid that. One official today said to the press, to local media, that the priority is to avoid clashes, to avoid bloodshed, because remember, the police also had to manage the crowds outside the presidential compound of Yoon supporters. So these two big things are happening in tandem. They could drag on for weeks, or they could happen really quickly. But right now, South Korea continues to find itself in this instability and continuing political turmoil.